Hi, everyone from the Petersen Museum. My name is Engel, and I'm going to be showing you my collection. Now we're into another room, and this is a variety of Fords 32 along the back wall. There's murals depicting scenes in various parts of Richmond. Also, there's a couple of real airplanes in here, as well as remote control models. The blue airplane is a Rutan Veries, same airplane that John Denver died in. And the green and yellow biplane is a night twister. It was designed in the 30s. That plane was probably built in the 50s. Then the others are basically remote control models built by a friend of mine. And the tri-wing is a Fokker DR1. It's probably 2/3 size of the real airplane. It's the largest remote control airplane in North America. It has a 40-horse motor in it. Then I have various race cars. This is a Miller, has a 220 Marine Miller motor. Unfortunately, I don't have it documented yet, but I've had numerous people that I trust that they claim this is a real Miller race car. The two small dragsters were built for Jim McLennan's kids. There were actually 3. I ended up getting 2 out of the 3. They were built by Mickey Thompson. The narrow dragster is a display at Don Tognati, who was the second owner of the Grand National Roadster Show, in his speed shop in Sacramento. The 48 Packard station sedan. This is probably a complete chassis research dragster. This also, I have some timing slips that did 116 1/4. Probably has what I would consider a true suicide front end. The whole front end is held together by one bolt, which is pretty dangerous. I bought it from a friend of mine. It was in a barn, so I guess I could call it a barn find. And that's the original trailer that came with it. This is a replica of A.J. Foyt's car that won Indy in '61. It has a Alpha motor in it. And this is a Buick Indy style car that was built in Argentina, right-hand drive. The gentleman that built these, I think he built 4 cars. I think there was a Chrysler, Buick, and I can't remember what the other 2 were. And they were brought in by I can't think of the gentleman's name, and I bought it from a friend of a friend. And so it's kind of an example of what an early dirt track or Indy style race car would look like. Then the 98 is a Curtis Midget. This is a Osborne or Bennett Offie motor race car. It was driven by Dickie Reese. These are 2 Hildegas midgets. Number 5 car is a Benson midget with a 4-cylinder Chevy motor in it, fuel injected. Number 15 is a Hank Henry sprint car driven by Walt James. '66 car is Tony Simon's car, who flipped the car, I guess I'm not sure what year, probably in the 60s maybe, and lost his right hand and came back the next year in the same car after they put it back together, and with a prosthesis. And the hook marks are still in the steering wheel. There's another number 4 car that's Midnight Riley. It's the first car to win 2 first awards in the Antique Automobile Club of America competition. And the next one is a Speedway Cocktail, which basically is a Elto outboard motor, 2-cycle. And this was a car that was made for the Race of Gentlemen, I believe, in Southern California. And this is a wood car that I bought from a friend of mine, Dick Long. Was done by Michael Cooper, who's an unbelievable talented artist. The whole car is made out of wood, probably about 15 or so different types of hardwood. When he was younger, I believe his parents had a small store that was there was an attempted robbery, and they put the gun to Mike's head early in his childhood. And this car has this is called the gun runner. Back inside the engine with all of the exhausts and curved pipe or wood pipes is a revolver. A lot of his sculptures kind of incorporated guns in them. This is a 32 Ford Woody, flathead powered. I bought this from a friend of mine in Michigan. He was one of the officers of the Michigan Hot Rod Association, and also was involved in the putting together Detroit Autorama. His name was Al Maynard. This is a 32 Ford Phaeton owned by Jimmy Pfluger out of Hawaii. The car was done by Roy Brizio. Nice 3-window, 32 3-window coupe, Ford coupe, a small block Chevy. This is a 61 Chrysler Newport wagon that I had done by a shop up in Oregon, Randy Street Rods. It's been lowered. It's pretty much stock on the inside. The engine is a 58 392 Hemi. And it's got all the creature comforts, air conditioned, a lot more horsepower. Let's see, this is the 32 Ford Sedan Delivery. This was my first Roadster. When I came to Richmond, I really wasn't into car. I mean, I loved cars, but I didn't really have the wherewithal at that time until I came out here and met a friend of mine who became very good friends, Ed Haggerty, who owned Deal Auto Wrecking. So he kind of got me involved into cars, and that's how it all started. This was my first Roadster. This has been to Lincoln, Nebraska, Madison, Wisconsin, Snowmass, Colorado, and various other places at the LA Roadster Show. This is the original Woody that I showed you earlier that had the chassis hanging on the wall. This is all the original sheet metal that Roy Brizio built the new chassis with a small block Chevy automatic, and so a little more reliable than the Model B. Then I had Roy build a Roadster for me. This is a 32 Ford Roadster with Chrysler accents. It's got a 32 Chrysler grill, winter front grill that's been sectioned. It's got a 58 392 Hemi, Imperial Hemi. It's got E&J headlights, 47 Chrysler hubcaps and wheels. It's got a 32 Chrysler dash, and I think it's about a 33, 34 DeSoto taillights. Then this has got this I bought out of, came from, I believe, Washington, and this was done by Pyramid Street Rods, and it's got a old motor in it, and I believe it's a 5-speed tranny. Forgot the make at this point. Then there's a 32 panel on the opposite side. And a 32 flatbed. And then there's a 36 chord Beverly with I believe it's a 53 DeSoto Hemi in it, which has been hot rodded, not necessarily by me, but I improved on it. And the cream colored is also the same year, but that's a Sportsman. It's got it's a supercharged. Both of them are 812s. Then I went on a tour with some hot rod friends of mine. Tour was put on by Andy Brizio, and most of my friends came. We went to Italy, and most of my friends came back with shirts, shoes. I came back with a gondola over there, up in the air. After the war, these were used in driver's education programs in Germany. The two manufacturers, BVR and Holm. So I have examples of each. They're extremely hard to find now. Starting off, we have three Metropolitans, two sedans and one convertible. This is a Russian car, a Gaz Volga 21. This car was scheduled to go to Cuba, taken by one of the political people at the time when Ukraine was part of Russia. The political guy that took it before it went to Cuba drove it for a number of years, sold it to the grandfather of the son that I bought it from in Lafayette. The grandfather drove it for a period of time and gave it to the father of the son that I bought it from, and he restored it, and then decided to sell it and shipped it to his son in California, and that's how I acquired it. two Model T Speedsters. And this is a hot rod that I bought from Macungie, Pennsylvania. It's got a lot of Chrysler accents. I kind of thought it was kind of a cute car. They built it for the summer in Pennsylvania and decided to sell it after the summer. Then I have some early farm implements. There's a Porsche Standard. It's a 2-cylinder tractor. Then there's a Bradley. I think it's a 3-wheeler. Little Bantam tractor and a Gibson tractor. Then we have a BMW Isetta 300 right here. Then this is the military stuff that I have. I've got a Willys M38 Korean War vintage in the back with a Browning automatic machine gun. And then there's a Cushman 3-wheeler also with a Browning machine gun in it. And the one with the parachute is a Cushman Airborne scooter that they would drop out of airplanes. Not with the trailer, naturally, but separately. And then this is a Navy early Cushman, probably in the 40s, with a sidecar. Then the rarest piece in here is that's American Bantam. It's an MP Post ID, but it's a Bantam BRC 40. Bantam was the only company that actually provided a car for multi-purpose for the Army. They were the only one that responded to the bid. Unfortunately, they were kind of nosed out of it by the Army because they didn't think Bantam had the capability of building them in the quantity that they needed. So they let Ford and Willys look at the tests and also look at the drawings and allowed them to put in a bid after reviewing all of the hard work that Bantam, the American Bantam, put together. And the first one was a BRC Pilot. Bantam was only allowed to build, I think something 20. I think it was either 1,500 or 2,500, which was the BRC 40, which is the one I have as an example. There's probably less than 25 in the world at this point, most of which went to Russia under the Lend-Lease program. So I don't believe anybody realized that the contracts that Ford and Willys took over, I believe they built somewhere in the neighborhood of 600,000 Jeeps during World War II. And unfortunately, Bantam got cut out of all of that, which is kind of a shame since they were the ones that actually invented the Jeep. And they were basically relegated to building small trailers, which you can see behind the Jeep, or the BRC 40. This is a motorized wheelchair built by a company called Wilhelm Meyer. It was built for a German pilot who lost the use of his legs sometime either towards the end of World War II. A very rare piece. The factory has no knowledge of even building it. They still build wheelchairs. But this has a little small 2-cycle motor that can be used for power, or he can actually propel it with the 2 handles. Then there's 2 motorcycles in the back. This is a BSA single military bike. It's a DKW German bike. Still has the swastikas on the shift knob and the damper handle knob. Then these are 2 Citroen Traction Avants. Then next to that is a English taxi that belonged to the McGuire sisters. And this is a 50s Bentley S1 4-door sedan. This is a Triumph 1800 convertible coupe with a rumble seat. And this is a 57 TR3 small mouth. I believe 60s vintage Sunbeam Tiger. A 29 Rolls-Royce 4-door sedan, Park Ward body. And a 50s MG TD. I want to thank everybody from the Petersen Museum, and I hope you enjoyed the tour.